Good morning, everyone. I'm Sarah Moraes of Vertical Measures. If you aren't familiar with us, we are a strategic search, social, and content marketing company located in Phoenix, Arizona. Vertical Measures provides internet marketing expertise to businesses, universities, and agencies worldwide. We have many registrations for this webinar, so if you don't mind, we're going to give them just another minute or two to get on the line, and we'll get started in a moment. All right, good morning. Once again, I'm Sarah Moraes, and I'm here hosting the Vertical Measures monthly webinar. I am excited to introduce Arnie Ken as our presenter today. He's the founder of Vertical Measures and author of the best-selling internet marketing book, Accelerate, Move Your Business Forward Through the Convergence of Search, Social, and Content Marketing. Arnie will be happy to answer your questions at the end, so please make sure to ask them in the chat applet located on your screen. And if you would like to discuss the webinar today on Twitter, the hashtag is VMWeb. And if you're having any technical difficulties, please attempt to reconnect. So without further ado, let's get started. Arnie, take it away.
All right. Thank you, Sarah. Appreciate it. And thanks to everybody for joining us this morning on the West Coast. I guess technically still the morning on the East Coast, and for any of you who might be around the world in your time zone. As Sarah mentioned, actually, let me advance to the next screen. I'm the president and founder of Vertical Measures. I'm also pretty involved in the local and national associations. I have actually helped found the Arizona Interactive Marketing Association about 3 years ago. I'm an instructor for the Content Marketing Institute and the Online Marketing Institute. And as she said, I recently published a book, came out about 2 months ago, called Accelerate. And if you are tweeting, I'm Arnie K, and our hashtag, as she mentioned, is VMWeb. All right, and I'm expecting that this will be a little bit different than our normal monthlies. If you've joined any of our previous webinars, they tend to go about 45 minutes and try to cover quite a bit of ground. I'm thinking this one's going to be about 30 minutes, and it's very focused on video. In the next, we have a series that we run every particular month. And I think we're going to start tending to focus in on more specific technologies. I believe next month is on conversion optimization. Anyway, let me move on. So when I started to write the book a little bit over a year ago, and of course we're a search, social, and content agency, what kind of fell out of it is these 8 steps. And so we've called this the convergence of search, social, and content marketing here at Vertical Measures. These are the 8 steps we think that you need to apply. And as I mentioned, rather than trying to cover all of these, this one is going to focus right in on video. So video and content marketing. This is a statistic that I think is pretty staggering. This was conducted last year. The research was conducted last year by Forrester Research. And what they found is that when properly search engine optimized, videos are 53 times more likely than text pages to appear on Google's first page search results. So that's one of the reasons I'm going to spend a little bit of time trying to convince you, if you haven't already, to really make an attempt at producing video. And then part of what my presentation today is going to be, if you do have video and you're already even in the habit of creating video, how to best optimize it to give you this chance of showing up in the search results. All right, so you're on this webinar because you probably already understand that video is pretty important. You know, I'm not sure. I put this slide on here because I thought the stats were pretty impressive. Anytime you see any of the YouTube and video stats, they're always to me mind-boggling. But on the other hand, sometimes they're just so big and almost so obvious anymore that it's almost blurry. It almost means nothing. But I do think the third bullet here, that YouTube videos are watched over 3 billion times a day, is just, you know, it's like I mentioned, it's mind-boggling. So, you know, and I'm old enough, I have kids who are constantly online and are constantly on YouTube. And I know that people talk about YouTube being the second or third largest search engine, and it's really true if you watch certain demographics. I mean, they're just on looking for videos all the time, and you'll see them being shared on the social media sites, which gives them only more and more reach. So as I mentioned, part of this is just to kind of motivate you and give you some ideas. You know, this slide here, as the headline says, you know, videos aren't as hard as you might think they are. I know I was always a little bit worried about producing a professional quality video, and, you know, do we have all the right equipment, and, you know, what if I stumble, just like I might do throughout this webinar a couple of times in my speech, and, you know, you want perfection, right? And I think actually, and I think I have a slide that shows this, but perfection as far as you know, being a professional publisher isn't nearly as important usually as just the resolution of the video. People are willing to cut you slack on producing videos as long as they can see them fairly clearly and they make some sense. But here's just 3 examples of things that you can do that might not be so obvious and that are pretty easy to put together. The first one on the top left is an example of exactly what we're doing today, right now. Because we're putting on a webinar, and through the software, I think we're using GoToWebinar, you can record the webinar. So now it's going to record the audio, me speaking, and the slides as they appear on the screen. And we're going to save it, and we're going to turn it into a video. And that video is going to be available on our website. And I don't know if Sarah mentioned that right in the very beginning or not, but again, this is being recorded. It's going to be available later, and it will be in a video format. And so that top left is actually a webinar we hosted maybe 3 or 4 months ago, maybe longer than that, doesn't matter, with Jay Baer. We hosted a webinar. We saved it. That is now available on our website in video format. And then a few months later, when my book came out, he contacted me and you know, sort of returned the favor thing. He asked if he could interview me on his website. So the top right of your screen there is just a snapshot of Jay and me on a split screen. This happened live. We spent maybe 20 minutes total on this. He interviewed me. His software recorded it, and then he posted it on his blog. And voila, we have video that other people can grab and embed. It's on YouTube, it's on his blog, and so on and so forth. Literally, from my perspective as a guest, it was a 20-minute investment. His end of it probably was another 20 or 30 minutes to edit the beginning and the end, so he had an intro and an exit, as you can kind of see his logo there on the screen right by his hand. And you can see, by the way, if you just check out some of those stats, I don't know when I grabbed this particular screenshot, but you can see it got, you know, almost 300 tweets at that point. It was posted on LinkedIn. It was liked 30 times, so it spread. And as I mentioned, not a huge investment of time or effort. Then down at the bottom is about as simple as it gets. We do a lot of link building here at Vertical Measures for clients, and usually we'll give an award every month for the link builder who gets the best link for our client. And so the video on the bottom is one month. I don't remember when this was. It seems like it was at least a year ago. But we had a tie. We couldn't decide who had gotten the best link for our client. And the guy in the red there, if you can see that on your screen, Michael challenged the other guy to a foot race in our parking lot. And we had actually given flip videos to our staff, and a couple of them grabbed them and ran up to the parking lot, and these guys raced in our parking lot. We filmed it, and as you can see there, it was about a 2-minute video. and we posted on our site. We wrote a little blog post around it, and so there was another, whatever that was, a total of 15-minute investment using a $100 handheld video recorder, and we had some content that did a couple of things. One is it let everybody know that we do link building, and two is it kind of let everybody peek behind the scenes and see what kind of business we're all about and that we're having fun and racing in the parking lot. So if you jump in and you do start creating videos, whether they're like I mentioned, professionally done, and you actually invested a whole $1,000 maybe in video equipment, or if you've invested $200 in a Kodak or a flip cam, or even your cell phone these days. I shoot a lot of video on my Droid cell phone. If you jump in and you start doing it, it just might change your business. And I don't know how many of you on this call, I can't see a show of hands, but how many of you might actually be familiar with Will It Blend? It's a hugely popular video series. You can go to willitblend.com and check all these out. But the guy there in the picture is the owner of the company that a lot of people haven't actually heard or didn't hear of the company, Blendtec, prior to Will It Blend. But he's the owner, and he was convinced one day to put on that smock and goggles and so on and so forth and blend things in their industrial strength blender. And they became extremely popular because they blended an iPod, I-P-O-D, iPod, when the iPod first came out, whatever that was, 3 or 4 years ago. This is when people were waiting in line overnight to get the very first iPods, and they did the same thing. They bought it for whatever, $300 or $400, blended it, and it got millions of hits. People couldn't believe somebody just blended their iPod, and it's gone on to be so successful that their business grew by 600% that very first year by creating these kinds of videos. They went on to blend, rakes and 2x4s, and became so popular that now Nike and Old Spice and other really big brands actually pay them to blend things on willitblend.com. And the kind of the moral to this story is this is a 100-person, or was a 100-person company in the middle of Utah selling blenders, and they started doing videos for less than $1,000. And I realize this is probably never going to happen again. I mean, if you see the amount of views that all of their videos get, it's really incredible. I mean, they're literally a media channel now, and most of us on this call will never see that kind of result. But if I had 1/10 of that, I would just be thrilled. So anyway, it might just change your business. Yep, trying to advance this. And here's a very recent example. I don't know how many of you may have heard of AuraBrush. But this is a company that's been around quite a while, and actually it surprised me that they've been around quite a while. I thought this was a new phenomenon, but as it turns out, as the story goes, basically it's a one-man operation. For the last 10 years, he's been out pitching dentists and retailers, and he spent 50 grand on an infomercial trying to get people interested in his tongue brush. So what he decided to do not too long ago, I'm sure it was this year, 2011, was he spent $500 on a funny video about bad breath and promoted that tongue cleaner on YouTube. And probably one of the smarter things he did was they created an iPhone app for detecting bad breath, and that's what this image is above. You can see he's out in the park. He's asking people to blow into this iPhone, and it's going to tell them what their bad breath level is. If you have a chance, not now, but at the end of the webinar, you might want to go look this up. Obviously, it's on YouTube. Just do a search for whatever app detecting bad breath. And it's not the app that's making the story. It's that they went out to the park and filmed people who actually were gullible enough to believe if they blew into this iPhone, it was going to detect their bad breath level. That video became a pretty big hit. And now, as a result, on their YouTube, and by the way, they've created some other really clever videos, but this was, I think, by far the biggest. But now their YouTube channel has over 35 million views, almost 100, and this is 2 months old, so it's probably all these numbers are bigger, but at that time it was 160,000 subscribers, almost 300,000 fans on Facebook, 4,000 followers on Twitter, and they're now up to a 15-person company. They've sold $1 million worth of these tongue brushes through YouTube. And I know now they have actually signed a contract with a major drugstore chain where their products are going to be in 3,700 drugstores across the United States. And that's all as a result of creating a clever, funny YouTube video and pushing it out online. Not a big investment. I think if you remember, it was they spent less than $1,000 on that video as well. And another thing I mentioned a couple times now that we do a lot of link building here as an agency, and sometimes one of your goals might be simply to attract links through video. So you create your video, you post it on a page on your site. So make sure you grab the embed and you create a page just like Network Solutions did here. And as a result, if any of you are into backlinks, you can probably tell that it's a pretty impressive number at the bottom of the slide here, where this single video page on their website drew almost 5,500 backlinks from 54 different domains. So that means other people saw this video. This happens to be a humorous one. They thought it was funny enough that they got out there and linked to it. And you can tell by the way, if you see some of those social sharing numbers up there too, it was pretty popular in the social networks, over 2,000 likes, almost 2,000 tweets, and so on and so forth. Sometimes the content alone is just going to be a nice link magnet, and all these links coming into your site, even if it's to a deep page where this video might reside, all of those links help build authority for your entire website. So as what I would recommend as you're thinking about what would I think this is where people get stuck. We get stuck too. What are we going to video? What are we going to do? My suggestion is, even for videos, I would definitely think about starting with. I would definitely start with keyword research. I think ultimately, when I get to the optimization slide, you do want to optimize your videos around keywords. So in my opinion, if you're going to put together a video plan, you might as well have a list of keywords in front of you that you think you ultimately might want to focus on, and especially if you're creating how-to videos, which I'm going to talk about in a minute. Have this keyword research done and in front of you, and think of how you can apply it to video. And I just quickly there in the third bullet have listed a few tools you might use. One of my very favorites is that free tool from Google, which is the Google homepage. When you type in a search on Google's homepage and it starts to drop down these suggestions, and if you have instant search turned on, it drops down instant search results. That's great market research right there. It's telling, you can in essence see what Google is now going to suggest to most searchers around the world as well when they start to type in your important keyword phrases. And so you might see some nice long tail phrases in there that'll start to get the wheels going on your end and thinking of longer lists and new ideas. And besides, if they're suggesting it to other searchers, they just might be clicking on it, and you might as well provide some content that they're going to find. And of course, if you need deeper tools, you can try Google's AdWord tool. It's free. It gives you, estimated search volumes, regional search volumes, and so on. And then even Bing has a pretty cool tool called Commercial Intent. So if you're trying to sell product, and most of us are, product or services, it will tell you, if you enter the keyword into their Commercial Intent tool, it'll tell you what the propensity is for this keyword phrase turning into a sale, turning into business for you. So when you're thinking about videos, this is a study done by our friends at AimClear. They looked at, I guess it was just over 7,000 videos there to see what keywords were common in the most popular videos, meaning popular videos found in the search results. And so the first one kind of surprises me. I actually thought how-to might have been the #1. If you would have asked me, I would have said how-to. But it turns out people creating videos on hacks for or changing a, and I've got a story about that in a minute, how to, world's largest, so on and so forth. When people are including those keywords in their searches, it's a good chance you can get your video to pop up. So you might, anyway, we're going to make this available to you later. You don't have to write all this down. So you've got your list of keywords. You've looked at some of those operators, those search phrases. And something else I would now recommend to take another step on what kind of video you might want to produce is to go to answer sites like Yahoo Answers, Quora, LinkedIn has a Q&A section, Facebook has a Q&A available. Go there, enter in your keyword phrases, and see what people out there are asking about online. You know, Yahoo Answers alone has millions. I mean, and I do mean millions. It might be tens of millions of questions and answers at Yahoo Answers. And I think it's answers.yahoo.com. It doesn't matter. Just do a search for Yahoo Answers and you'll find it. And so you can enter in your keyword phrase, and I'm going to use this example here of hiking boot. You know, you enter in hiking boot, and you might see people asking, you know, what's the best waterproof hiking boot? Well, you could create a video around that. And what I would do is you could even title the video, what's the best waterproof hiking boot, and then video this boot going through a stream, you know, or whatever. I mean, you know, you'll have to take care of the creative part. But, you know, you can answer people's questions, and how-to videos, as I've mentioned, are really popular that way. You could also check sites like Dig, StumbleUpon, and Reddit in your industry, your market, using, again, your keywords, and see what is resonating with the audiences in those different places. See what kinds of videos they seem to be voting up. Those are what I would call voting sites, just as a simple description. Where people vote, you know, if they dig things up or vote them up, give them thumbs up. See what's popular, see what's working in your industry, and then do a better job of it. And then the third suggestion here, something I've fairly recently run across. But you know, when you do a Google search, so you type in, use this example again, waterproof hiking boot. You enter that into the normal Google search results, and then on the left-hand side, you see all those other options where you can click on, you know, like recent and blogs and maps and, you know, whatever the other ones. Well, there's one of the selections. I think it's more. It's the bottom one. If you click on more, it drops down this list that you can see on the screen here. More, you know, just other things that aren't immediately apparent on the Google search results. And if you click on discussions, there's a discussions link. It will bring up a list like this, and this will be a list for waterproof hiking boots. But basically, this is all of the current discussions taking place in blogs, forums, even answer sites about waterproof hiking boot. So again, you would use your keywords, your market, you know, do all this research, and basically you're working on coming up with a list of ideas for your videos. And here it is. Here's an example. Now this is not all about video, but this is what I would recommend. You come up with a spreadsheet. This is for a hosting provider example, but you know, you have your core keywords. Think about your long tail, and content type in this example would always be video. And then start working on titles, and then of course think about how it is you go about getting that video produced and what the content would be. And then long tail, I'm not going to spend too much time on this because this is really a slide that's all about all organic search results. But the point here, I don't know if I can grab this little, let me see if I can grab this. Yeah, right here, I don't know if that's working or not, if you can see my mouse, but right here in the red, that's head terms. And what a head term is a 1 or 2 keyword phrase. So boots or hiking boots would be considered a head term. What you can see is that most people, when they search for a head term, 32% of them are going to click on the very first Google search result. And that's what this is. This is the Google search results 1 through 10. The second position only gets 5% of the searches for a short phrase. If you think long tail, that's the green line. You can see your odds of getting clicked on in the 1st through the 7th position are much, much better than for short tail phrases. So what this basically, I'm trying to be a little bit brief here for the sake of time, what this is telling you, and should be obvious at this point, is think long tail. And long tail is generally thought of as 3 words or more. All right, so I've talked about all the different kinds of video you might produce, keywords, how to generate ideas, so on and so forth. I'm now going to have to assume you've bought into this. You have bought your camera, using your phone, whatever it might be, and you're producing some videos. And now you're posting them to your YouTube account, and I strongly recommend you set up a YouTube channel and post your videos there. And then, and by the way, you might want to also post them on other sites, you know, Metacafe, Vidler, Vimeo, whatever, and then grab the embed code from one of those sites. You might not always do it with YouTube, but anyway, grab the embed code, put it on a page of your site, and then here are tips on how to optimize the videos once you've created them. And I'm just beating up keywords here, but definitely slow down and think about the title Make it a compelling, somewhat short title. And you want to change not only the title of the video itself, I mean the page, and where the video is being hosted, but you want to change the file name of the video. Don't leave it VOOO23. Change it to hiking boots video, or whatever, and then the same thing with the title. And it's also been recommended that if you can include or end the title, and I'm talking now not necessarily the file name, but the actual title of your page, the title of where you're posting the video, and end it with the word video, that will actually increase your odds of getting found in the search results. The description, so when you post it to YouTube and you post it on your page, say as much as you can early on, because generally the YouTube is going to hide most of your description, but put a long description in there, but say as much as you can, including your keyword phrases right in the beginning, and then also make sure you include a link to the correct page on your website. So if it's hiking or waterproof hiking boots, make sure the link goes to your waterproof hiking boots page, and make sure it starts with HTTP://. That'll make it a hot link right to that page. If they leave that off, that link won't be live on YouTube. And that's the very first thing you should put in your description, and then go on with your text. Tags. Tags are really, really important. I think a lot of people forget or skip past this section, but add tags. And the reason is most videos, this is important, most videos are found through the suggested or similar videos section on YouTube. And we've all done it, right? We've all been on YouTube, and we then start to click on that right-hand column of videos. Well, believe it or not, that is how most videos are found. So, and the tags are going to give you the biggest advantage of getting listed correctly with the suggested and similar videos to other popular videos. The fourth bullet there, I've mentioned that early on in this webinar. That the quality of the actual video itself is more important than the skill level. So make sure that whatever tool, whatever cameras you have available, use the highest possible quality resolution. Again, you want to make the video easy to see. People are willing to forgive your skill level, but not the quality level. And then the thumbnail image, that thumbnail that's going to appear in the search results or on your page or wherever it is that you might be promoting the video. Make sure that you pick the most visually compelling of the options that's given to you, and if you can control it even more on your website, pick a nice image that actually really helps on the click-through rate. Oh yeah, that's right, I forgot it, because it's a dedicated video, I have a second page of video optimization. You really, really have to have a video sitemap when you're posting these on your own website. There's a lot of details. If you just go to bit.ly video-sitemap, it's going to take you to the section on a Google site where they give you all the details of how to create a video sitemap. I highly recommend you include a transcription of the video for both on your page and in that YouTube description. There's software you can use that will automatically transcribe the voice of the video. So I highly recommend that, because you do want a text on the video page. So if you're creating a blog video or a how-to video on a how-to section of your site or wherever it is, make sure that page that contains that video has a bunch of text, because no matter what, that still is going to help with your search engine rankings. Google's algorithm is still primarily text-based. Use microdata. That's for your web developer, your programmers to pretty much worry about, but use microdata in your videos descriptions and tags on your website. You can look up what microdata is, and there's pages that will tell you how to use that. Again, to maximize your SEO and your ability to get ranked, keep it to one video per page. Don't list. We made this mistake a couple of years ago. We put all of our webinars on one page. We've since, of course, broken them out. It's made a big difference for us. But one video per page is how you're going to maximize the use and get all the benefits from this great content you're creating. Oh yeah, closed captioning. Forgot about that. If you there's actually some tools like Camtasia. If you create videos using Camtasia, they actually have a closed captioning module built into it, and it will automatically close caption your video for you. And I understand that that's very, very good also for search results because that's text that Google can actually find. I'm already almost at my 30-minute mark, but I'm pretty close to wrapping it up. So if you take everything I've talked about at this point, keyword research, identifying the types of videos you might want to create, those keyword influence phrases like how to, picking a niche, right, long tail, and then just diving in and do it, you might see results like this. And this is a true story. If any of you have been to any of my speeches here in the last few months around the country, you may have already heard this, but this happened to me. Remember, we talked about how-to is important, and one of those keyword operators was changing. I own what's called a DLP television. And based on what I know, about 90% of you on this webinar do not know what a DLP television is. But I happen to have one, and one of the most important components in that television is a single light bulb or a lamp. It's a real bright lamp that basically projects onto the back of the screen. And they tell you it's going to burn out every 2 or 3 years, and you want a warranty. And of course, they said no. And 3 years later, of course, my bulb goes out. So what do? I do what all of you do. I went to Google. I typed in Samsung, whatever my model number was, DLP lamp replacement. And at that time, this is now maybe a year and a half ago, these videos popped up that you see circled at the bottom of the screen there from a company called FixYourDLP.com. So it said basically how to change your lamp. So I clicked on the video. I watched whatever it was, a 3 or 4 minute video, and you can probably make that out there. A pair of hands in gloves and a screwdriver and the chassis for the lamp, and they changed it in about 2 minutes. I thought, well, I can do that. So I clicked on their link, which conveniently took me right to the purchase page, and I bought the lamp, and I think it was a $150, $200 lamp, and it's not exactly a cheap bulb. Got it the next day. I replaced it. Voila, that was awesome. So I'm going to say now, maybe 6 months ago, I was speaking at a conference, at an e-commerce convention in Las Vegas. And the guy in the very front row raised his hand. And he said, hey, that's my company. Fix Your DLP, that's my company. I'd like to tell you the rest of the story. So after my presentation, he and I met out in the hallway, and he let me know that in 2007, Fix Your DLP, and actually that's not his corporate name, but his company, was a television parts distributor online, and they did about $1 million in revenue with various parts. They decided to use video as their primary marketing tool, focus on just DLP lamp replacements, so it's about as niche as you can get, because remember, most of you don't know what a DLP television is. And 5 years later, this year, 2011, they expect to finish doing $24 million a year in the DLP lamp replacement business. I wrote about it in my book. I actually wrote a blog post. I just think it's so impressive that he had a plan and he stuck with it. And if you go to their YouTube channel, you'll see, I haven't looked at it in a little while, but maybe 100 videos. And it's all the different Samsung models, Sony, and so on and so forth, all very much focused on just DLP lamp replacement. I think that's just a wonderful success story, talking about it if you just take the time. And like I said, they did not hire a professional company to come in and shoot these videos. These guys did it themselves on a folding table with a tablecloth, one after another after another. So my message to you is go build your $24 million business, just like Fix Your DLP did. Jump in, start shooting some videos, do the best you can at optimizing them, do the best quality that you can, but jump in and get started. And by the way, you can shoot the video, and if you don't like it, you don't have to post it anywhere. And I'm Arnie Ken with Vertical Measures, and that's my book, Accelerate. You can get it on Amazon, and I'll turn it over to Sarah and see if we have any questions I can answer.
All right, thank you very much. We do have a couple of questions. Does the Bing commercial intent tool still exist? I thought it was removed.
Well, that's a good question. If it's removed, it's been removed in the last few months. I know I used it, time does fly, but I know I've used it this year, but I'd have to actually go check. I haven't used it for a few months, so I should probably check on that.
Okay, yeah, and we can tweet that out or
Sure.
or send a message for the answer on that one. And then what are some good transcript software options to get video transcript?
I'll have to tweet that out as well. I was trying to think of it while I was going through the webinar. I probably should have put a couple of them on there. And I don't want to change the screen and go do a search, but I do have a couple of them written down. And if you don't mind, whoever asked that question, even if you tweet to us or whatever, I'll be sure to answer that question online.
Sure, absolutely.
Sorry about that.
And I think that is it for now, but feel free to tweet us with the hashtag VMWeb. We can keep the conversation going on Twitter. If there were no technical difficulties, the webinar will be posted on our webinars page at www.verticalmeasures.com/webinars. I will send everyone a message once that is available. So thank you for joining us today. Be sure to look out for next month's webinar. We'll be having Tim Ash talking about landing page optimization. Thanks so much. Have a great day.
Thank you, everybody.